guest, Olivia Troye, who is on the White House coronavirus task force, now says she is voting for Joe Biden after what she saw from the president. Also with me, Patrick Gaspard, who is the national political director for President Obama's 2008 campaign, as well as White House Director of Political Affairs, Ambassador to South Africa. He's now president of the Open Society Foundations. Olivia, let me start with you as someone who was on that task force. I mean, what we have seen is the task force has been sidelined. The president doesn't meet with them. Scott Atlas, who is a right-wing radiologist, is now running essentially pandemic response for the United States of America. And the president is closing this campaign as cases hit 80,000, as hospitalizations surge, as we may be entering the worst part, saying, forget about it. Don't believe your eyes. It's gone. You're fine. What is it like to watch this?
It's angering, and it continues to be very frustrating for me. It is incredibly appalling to watch these people parade like they're invincible and continue to host these rallies, which we know are putting communities at risk. And these people attend these rallies and they go back into their communities and they spread the virus. That's basically what's happening right now, every single day. But since, there are no consequences for the president and the vice president right now. They're parading around like they're invincible, but what they're doing is they're contributing to the overwhelming of hospital emergency rooms. And these healthcare workers and all of these people deserve way better than this.
Patrick, there was a moment today on stage where President Trump and Senator Rand Paul gave each other kind of a fist bump and said immunity, which I don't know if that's the goal or they were just celebrating that each of them has had the virus and is fine. And I just thought to myself, well, I'm glad for you guys. I'm glad you got well, but there's 45,000 people in the hospital right now. I just have never seen any politician ever go through a crisis like this in the way that this individual is at this moment with 6 days before an election.
It's the most astonishing thing that any of us have ever experienced in our lifetimes, Chris. This is a moment where we need profound compassion and profound sobriety. And instead, these guys are holding drunken political frat parties. That's what's going on right now. Trump, this moment in Tulsa is kind of a metaphor for this entire Trump presidency. He swoops in, gets his photo op, makes the most astonishing promises and delivers nothing for working families and leaves chaos behind in his wake. Let's compare this, Chris, to when I worked in the White House and I worked for the Obama-Biden administration. In 2014, I was serving as the Obama-Biden ambassador to South Africa. We, of course, had the Ebola crisis, the Ebola outbreak. What did President Obama and Joe Biden do in that moment? They called for a multinational response. They immediately commissioned the best and the brightest from NIH, CDC, got them to work with 60 countries around the world, and they moved thousands of healthcare workers into position, not just in the U.S., but into other places abroad to stem the tide of the crisis. Right now, Chris, we are weeks behind the lockdown redux in Europe. That's surely on its way here, and these guys can't get their act together. The comparison is astonishing, but I think the American people know what clear choice exists right in front of them.
Olivia, one thing that's bizarre to me about this is, I think the president, you said this in the first video that you came out where you said from the beginning, this was all viewed from the president's self-interest politically. And I think that's been very, very clear. But at this point, it just seems catastrophic to go around telling people everything's fine when it's not fine. I mean, Green Bay hospitals are at capacity. El Paso is airlifting people out of El Paso. Utah is at 100% of ICU beds occupied the last I checked, or parts of that state. You've got the task force saying, we have defeated COVID. Like, what do you think the thinking is right now inside that place? Is it just that their reality bending is strong enough that they can overcome what is happening?
It's pure gaslighting. That's been their tactic from day one. That is everything this Trump administration stands for. So the longer they play this out, the longer they tell their unwavering base and supporters this isn't real, and they parade around like it's non-existent. They're delusional. They think that this is actually a strategy that'll work, and they'll make everyone focus, and they'll talk about the judges, and they'll talk about SCOTUS, and they'll talk about everything else. But it's not going away. People are dying. I mean, my hometown is El Paso. They are in a horrible situation down there. And They just don't care. You've got the VP running amok right now. I mean, I am appalled at this behavior. He knows better. He knows better. And this is just so angering to me now. I have no excuses for these people. And I hope that they pay for this on election day.
Well, Olivia and Chris, we don't have to guess what these people think right now. We have the recording from Jared Kushner in April where he tells Bob Woodward that Donald Trump is wresting control back of the crisis from the doctors. So, this is magical thinking versus medical science, and it's been disastrous where 1 in 5 small businesses are closing down and 10 million Americans are unemployed.